Hey guys, so today's video I am going to be talking about my dreams. Welcome to Dream Diaries. This is actually a series I used to do on my channel back in the day. I actually used to do story times about some of the weird dreams I used to have, and it was because back in the day I wanted to do more story times because some of my favourite videos to watch was story time videos, and I decided to do a whole series about my weird dreams, and it was actually kind of inspired by Jessie V. She had a whole series on her channel where she would sit down and talk about some of her weird dreams. I used to love watching them, and I was like, I could do a whole series on that because I myself have some weird dreams. And I'm gonna be honest, in the last few months my dreams have been getting weirder. And it's been kind of getting to the point where I've been having a lot of weird dreams as of lately that I feel like I need to start this up again. And I thought that I would start off a little bit different. First of all, I wanted to give it an actual name because I was just going to call it The Weird Dreams. But then I was like, I want it to have a bit of a cuter name. So I've called it Dream Diaries. And basically I want it to be a series where I just sit down and talk about some weird dreams I've had, or one dream in particular. Like, I have a few weird dreams I've had that I could do a whole story time on, like a whole one video based off of. Basically the dream that kind of started all this series, if I'm being honest, is not as weird as some of the other dreams I've had. And I know this was a big thing back in the day where people would talk about their weird dreams, and I know that no one really does this now, but I want to bring it back, and I thought this would be kind of a cute little series to do, and I want it to be like a kind of a cute cozy vibe where we're just kind of chilling out, sitting down, and I talk about some dreams that I have. So I actually have a dream journal that I write in. I actually write my dreams in my phone, and I've been transferring it into this where I write down little notes. The reason, by the way, this isn't very thick. The reason for that is I was writing in this for a while. I spilled a drink on it, and I had to take out a lot of the pages because they were ruined, so it's very thin. But I have actually bought myself a new notebook that I'm going to be using as like a proper dream journal, and I'm going to use this for like videos and transferring the ones I can talk about into this, because there are a few dreams that I've had that I can't really talk about because they are related to people I personally know, or the whole storyline won't really make sense unless you know that person and my history with them. So those are the kind of dreams I won't be talking about. But two little notes before I kind of get started. I did put lipstick on. I've removed it because it looked weird, and unfortunately it stained my lips. So my lips look really red and pink. I have removed the lipstick, it's just stained it, that's what's going on. Second, I'm sick, so if I sound very snuffly and very like sniffly and stuff, that's what's going on. I have a cold. Before I go into any of the dreams that I've had recently, I feel like I have to talk about the dreams I had when I was a kid, because without a doubt those are going to be the weirdest dreams that I have had in my life, and I still think about them to this day. And I feel like that's a good starting point, because if I'm being honest, the dream that started all this, I remember when I had that dream, at the time, it was the weirdest dream I've had. But now, if I was to put it in like a tier list, or like a scale of 1 to 10, the dream that started everything is probably a 2 in the weirdness scale, because I've had weirder. But I thought I would start off with the ones I had as a kid, because they're actually a little bit higher up in that scale, I guess I would rate them, because they're genuinely like fever dreams I would have, and I mean like genuine fever dreams. One of the dreams that I used to have as a kid was one that I genuinely am not too sure why I had this dream, and I can't really remember, but basically this is a dream that feels like a memory for me, but it can't be because of how it ends. I had this dream, I would always have the same dreams as a kid again and again and again, so that's why I remember these dreams probably more than anything. Okay. Basically the dream starts off, it's like nighttime, I'm like probably about 3-4 years old, I'm small in this dream. I'm me, looking at it from my vision. I'm coming out of my old bedroom and I'm going out into the living room, And again, for preference, we've been living in this house. Like, this house was built, I think, 2-3 years before I was born. So this house is about 3 years older than me. So it's about 31 years old. But I was coming out into the living room, and it was nighttime, the place was dark, and in our house at night we always have one lamp on. So it was like that, but the whole living room was basically empty and furniture was not where it was, but the kitchen was where it was. And my dad was like doing something, and I just remember him being like, I'm coming, I'm gonna get you a drink, go back to bed, go back to bed. And I'm like, okay. And I end up like turning around and going back into my room. And the thing about where my old bedroom is, there's a little bit of a wall where my door is. And basically my door is here, and there's like a little, like my door's here, there's a little wall here. And on that wall we have an old cuckoo clock, my grandparents' old cuckoo clock. And as a kid, by the way, you probably notice in the photo, the chains are wrapped up. Someone liked to pull on them. I remember doing that, because the thing is, on the ends of the chains there's like little loops, and I used to put my finger through and pull. I remember doing that a lot. But also there's like a weight, and it's like a pine cone, which I'm gonna be honest, doesn't really look like a pine cone. But I love that cuckoo clock. Like, I look at it and I think it's the most beautiful thing. But it's actually like really high up. And in this dream, I look at the cuckoo clock and I see the time. And the thing is, the cuckoo clock is not high up how it actually is. It's like low down up to my vision. And the thing is, you have to keep in mind, I'm like 3-4 years old in this dream, because that's the height I am. I'm very small. Because in this dream, I see myself come out into the living room. Everything is bigger. The living room is huge. Everything's like, you know, baby perspective. And I look at this cuckoo clock and it clicks over to midnight. And it clicks over to midnight, and the door's like at where the bird's supposed to come out, like the cuckoo. It opens up, and I just like somehow look into it, and I like basically I don't think I walk into the cuckoo clock, but it opens up, it's like a black void, and I look in there, and then it like everything goes black, and then I open my eyes, and it is 12 a.m. the previous day. It is not 12 a.m. the next day, it is 12 a.m. the previous night. So basically I've done a groundhog vibe kind of thing, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And the thing about this dream is, I didn't have it once, I had it multiple times. I don't know what set it off, I don't know what was causing this dream, but I would have this dream on a constant basis, because it would always make me so stressed, because it would always hit midnight. And the cuckoo clock, every time I dreamed about this cuckoo clock, it was bigger and bigger. And I don't know if it was because I was getting bigger or what was going on, but the cuckoo clock was getting bigger and bigger. And every time I clicked over to midnight, it would be the day before. It was never the next day. I think it was because as a kid, I really struggled to understand what happened at midnight. So I don't know if my little baby brain thought like, oh, 12 a.m. the morning of, and that's what I thought. But that's a memory, not a memory, that's a dream I had a lot as a kid. This is a dream that I remember having when I was sick, so this was a literal fever dream. And it was when I actually had a bunk bed in my room. We actually have a bunk bed in the house, and basically it was one of those bunk beds you could separate, and my brother and sister both had one of the beds, and they could put them together and have a bunk bed set. And basically, I actually decided I wanted to sleep on the top bunk. I usually always slept on the bottom, and that's just kind of how it always was. One time I slept on the top bunk, I ended up having a fever dream, and every time I see those like optical illusions of like a long hallway, I will always think of this dream, because it was such a weird dream. It was the first time I'd ever had one of these. But I had this dream that I was looking down like a hallway. Me and like the storyline started off, me and my dad were at like a what they call farmer's market, and I had to go get a pumpkin, and for some reason I went to go get a pumpkin, and we were going to bring it home, and I lost it, and then I found it in this like minimal, like, I don't even know what it was. It was literally like this like long hallway, like optical illusion, and there was a pumpkin at the end of it, and I was trying to go get it, and I was running after this thing. I was running for this pumpkin, and it was getting further and further away from me, and eventually I woke up. But I'll never forget that dream because I woke up in like a cold sweat. I was hot. I was like it was awful. I was so unwell. I woke up feeling really gross and just really uncomfortable because I was like covered in sweat. Another one of the dreams that I had as a kid is one that will kind of always be a bit of a like big memory, I guess. Big memory, big dream for me that I'll remember. But basically this is a dream I had a lot. This was kind of in the same lines as like the cuckoo clock, but this was a dream that I had a lot. And it would only ever happen if I slept on the floor. And you would be like, Eve, why are you sleeping on the floor? Why would you want to sleep on the floor? What's going on? So basically, when I was younger, my sister would have her friends over, and they would sometimes set up these giant tents made of sheets and everything like that. And I was like, that is so cool. They would have like giant like forts of like blankets and sheets and everything. And yeah, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And they would like sleep under it. And I was like, that's really cool. And I thought it was so magical. And my sister actually ended up making me one. And one night I was like, I want to sleep in my fort. And, you know, little baby brain of me, I probably would have been about 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. I was like, I'm gonna sleep on the floor. So I grabbed my little pillow and I grabbed a blanket and I just got on the floor. I'm lying on the floor, by the way. There's no like blanket below me. It's just me straight on the rug, a pillow and a blanket. And I ended up falling asleep. I remember just like, it was so weird. It was uncomfortable because I'm sleeping on the floor. And I fell asleep and I ended up having this dream. And this dream always only happened if I was sleeping on the floor. But I would have this dream that it was nighttime and I could fly. And I would go out my back door and I would look up and I would start flying. And the reason I remember this dream was the house that used to live next to us. In their backyard, they had one of those like wind, I think it was like, I don't know, it's called like a wind catcher, like the spiral wind catchers, and they had a rainbow one. And I remember as a kid, I could see it because they hung it from like the top of their eaves of the house. So every time I looked out the like fence or something, I could see it hanging out. And I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. I could see it from one of the windows. And in this dream, I started flying and I would fly. Everything was in like, not black and white, but everything was just really like, I don't know how to describe it, but everything was really dull. There wasn't really any colour, and the only thing that was colourful was this rainbow wind spiral thing. I don't know if it's a wind chime, I don't know what it is, like a wind catcher, I guess, I don't know what it is. And every time I would have this dream, I would be flying, I would be looking up at the trees, I'd see the tops of houses, and I would always see that rainbow spiral in the corner, and I would see it, and it was just a little rainbow thing I could see. And then in the dream, I would become aware that I don't know how to come down. I got up, and I'm flying above the houses, but I don't know how to come down. And basically, I would have this dream, and over the time, I would always wake up at a certain point. So I only remember the ending of this once, and it basically, I remember becoming very upset and very irritated and very like distressed because I was like, I can't come down. I don't know how to come down, and I didn't know what to do. And the thing is, there were people, like my family was watching me fly away. By the way, they were all outside with me. They were like, oh my god, bye Eve, like bye, go have fun flying. And I was like, I can't come down. And I just remember freaking out, panicking. I think I eventually woke up from this dream. But every time I had this dream, then on, as soon as I got to that point, it would just stop. Like, I think my brain was like, we're not going to do that again, because that was quite distressing. To be like, she's not coming down, by the way. She's going up, but she ain't coming down. So I would have this dream, but it was every single time I slept on the floor. And you'd be like, why do you keep sleeping on the floor? Yes, those, like, the fort that my sister made was a reason, but I actually did sleep on the floor because during summer, especially in an Australian summer, At night, I really struggle to sleep. I always really struggle with Australian summers and sleeping. I cannot sleep. I'm so hot, so uncomfortable. Sleeping is really hard. And my little, again, baby brain was like, okay, I'm gonna lie on the floor because I think that would be colder than my bed. So that's what I did. I lied on the floor. And I remember waking up, and it was always the night before I had school the next day. And I think only once or twice my dad had come in to go wake me up, and he found me on the floor and was like, what are you doing on the floor? Like, why are you not, like, the thing is I would always lie in a very particular spot on my bedroom floor. So basically the way the bedroom worked, and I'll get like a photo of it, but there is this big wardrobe. I actually don't really know where this wardrobe came from. I have to ask my dad. I think it's one of our family wardrobes. And it is this big wardrobe, like Narnia sized one. And every time I would get out of bed, I would lie next to it. I don't know why. I would always lie next to it. It was just the one spot in my bedroom. It was just that area, that one corner I would always lie on, right near that. I don't know why. And that makes me a bit worried. You know, is there something to do with that wardrobe? As a kid, that I was like, I'm gonna sleep in this wardrobe. Like, I really like this wardrobe. Like, I wasn't wanting to sleep in the wardrobe, but I would always lie next to it. I don't know why. I feel like most of this video is just being about my childhood weird dreams, but I'm gonna go into the dreams I now have as an adult. And I'm gonna start off with this dream that kind of started everything. And again, this dream is like really low tier on the weirdness scale, but it is a dream I'll never forget. And the reason I'll never forget it is just because it was something I never really had before. And the dream, by the way, I all gave them titles of the dream because it kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to be about. And the first dream that I had is called My Pet Giraffe, or My Pet Baby Giraffe. This dream kind of follows the same storyline as like Bart's elephant and like Stampede basically. I had a baby pet giraffe. I don't know how I got it, I just had it. That's how the dream started. I just had a baby pet giraffe. And my dad, my sister and I were trying to find it a new home. And basically the whole point was we were going from zoo to zoo trying to find a new home for it, or trying to find a space for it and stuff like that. And every time we travelled, in the dream, and this is the part that made it kind of weird and the part I'll never forget, is every time we would travel in a car, it would show the car driving as if those like car ads from like the bird's eye view kind of shot. But in the dream you could see the babies, like the baby giraffes, like the giraffe's head was always sticking out the car. Like you would see the car driving, but then you would see a giraffe head sticking out. So it was just really odd. And there was a lot of shots in this dream like that where we would see us, but it was like someone was filming it from really far away, and there was just a giraffe in the shot as well. It's really odd. Why a giraffe? I don't know. Anyway, eventually I realised we wanted to go to a place. We were like, you know what? Giraffes are based in Africa. Let's go to Africa. But we couldn't take it on a plane with us because no, you can't take a giraffe on a plane. That ain't gonna work. A ship? Yes, that would make more sense. No, this is probably the reason why this dream is so weird. This is the part I'll never forget because every time I think about this dream, I always think of this one shot. We decided to take a hot air balloon to Africa with a baby giraffe in it. So in this dream, it's a shot of an air balloon flying and there's a giraffe head sticking out. That's the dream. Anyway, we eventually find a home for it, but just most of the dream was just us going from places to places and there's just a giraffe head sticking out. It's like, oh yeah, remember that you have a it was like my brain being like, I have to imagine these scenarios, but I have to like add in a giraffe head because we can't forget that this whole thing is about a giraffe. My dreams get weirder, and my dreams get so much weirder. By the way, that dream is very low on the weirdness. I think it was literally just the images of us trying to travel with a pet giraffe. Hopefully I can get this video done with. Sorry, I had to take like a hot break because I started sneezing really bad, and I just wanted to just kind of see if it would calm down eventually, because I've just been sneezing and I can't get through a sentence, and I just want to be able to finish this video. So I was like, I'll take a break and let myself just sneeze it all out and see if it finishes. And it seems to have calmed down, but I'm going to just try to get through another like probably 2-3 more dreams, and then I'll wrap it up, because I think it's going to get harder and harder. So the next dream is a bit more of a recent one that I had. I had this one I think about a year or 2 ago, but basically this one is called The Pastor Next Door. And basically what happened was, in this dream, my dad, it's like a Saturday or something, and my dad comes in and he's like, oh, a pastor has just moved in, like someone's moved in next door, and he's a pastor of one of the churches. And my dad's like, I want to know what church he goes to, because where I live there's actually a few churches. And I have to kind of give a bit of a background on this, but growing up, I think this is maybe the same for me and my siblings, but for me anyway, my mom used to take me to church with her on Sundays, and then when I was a little bit older, I used to go to Kids for Christ at an actual separate church. And basically the church that I go to is like an Anglican church for like Sunday, and then on like after school we would go to our local like Baptist church, and they would do like Kids for Christ, like after school care kind of thing, and I went to that for a while. So that's kind of the history I had. But some of the women from the Baptist church would actually come to my school and do like a teaching during like Easter and Christmas, and like why we celebrate it and the whole backstory on it. And something that I remember watching as a kid was those like, I think it was like the Bible for Beginners, like that like cartoon. I remember watching a few of those, but I remember watching like a few like biblical cartoons as a kid to like kind of learn about it. So that's like kind of my backstory, by the way, just wanted to preference that. Anyway, so my dad basically comes up to me and he's like, I want to know what church he goes to, and eventually my dad's like, alright, this is a part that like the start of this dream jumps around so quickly. My dad's like, there's a guy next door, he's moved in, he's a priest, and I want to know what church he goes to. First of all, my dad could have just asked. I don't know why my dad didn't ask. I don't know, my dream dad is weird. Like my actual dad would have just asked and be like, hey, what church are you part of? Because where I live, there's a few. Like there's a Uniting church, there's a Baptist church, there's an Anglican church. There's so many different churches in my area. So there's like, I mean, I live in the city of churches, so kind of, I guess, a given. But basically at one point in this dream, my dad goes, he's leaving the house, do you want to go follow him? And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go follow him. You know, a daddy-daughter date, we're gonna go follow this priest. I don't know why my dad didn't just ask. Oh my god, this dream is so weird. Like, this is the reason I was talking about when it comes to the comparison of the draft dream and this one is weirder. It's such a weird thing. Anyway, so me and my dad follow him and we end up losing him. But we walk past one of these churches and we hear like music coming from it, and it's like not like rave music, but we can hear like boom, 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 boom kind of music. So I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, so my dad's like, oh, he must have gone in there. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it wasn't our regular church. It must have been like, because the church we would go to was the Anglican church. And my dad goes, do you want to go to church? And I'm like, yeah, sure. While we're here, let's go to church. Now, here's the thing about this and why it's weird. My mom was the one who did a lot of the like Christian church stuff. Not that my dad isn't like religious, but it wasn't really something he was kind of like, I guess from memory, I don't know. After my mom passed away, I just kind of I didn't really go to church anymore, because my mom was the one who would take me and she was the one who would teach us that, and literally me and my siblings were named after biblical characters, so It's mostly my mom that did all that. So after she passed, it kind of faded out, and I did go to a few like Christmas services, but I think when I was like 14, 15, that was probably the last time I really went. So it's been a hot minute, you know, it's been a hot minute, and stuff like that. Anyway, so my dad goes, do you want to go to church? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go to church. So we end up going to our church, and we go in and we go sit down, and there's like a few people there, it's not like massively overcrowded. And we went in there and we're sitting down, and the pastor, I guess, is giving a sermon, Eve. And he's giving a sermon, and the thing is, they've installed this giant screen. And as he's giving the sermon, he's talking about like biblical passages, I guess, from different books, like Book of John or Book of Matthew. As the pastor is giving the sermon, he's talking about each of the passages and what they mean, and it'll be like Luke and talking about forgiveness and something, I can't remember what the passage is, but like, to forgive others, I must forgive myself, something like that. He's basically doing that. He's like talking about these passages and everything like that, and on the screen, it's showing them. But here's the thing, as he's talking about them, the slideshow is slightly lagged behind. So as he's talking about these passages, it'll be stuck on a previous passage, and it will be from a completely different book, completely different thing, and it's so behind. And that was one of the things I remember in this, because I remember looking at it and be like, something's wrong here. Like, that is not the passage he's talking about. And during this entire time, by the way, my dad is on his phone. To make it worse, my dad is on his phone, which I don't think he would, but he's like too busy. And he's on his phone, and I love this man, but my dad, you know, he has KO. And if you don't know what KO is, I don't know if it might just be an Australian thing. It's basically a sports app where you can watch all the different sports. My dad was on that, he was checking, you know, something like cricket or something. Because I remember the time, it was like summer during the time, so it would have been cricket or rugby or something like that. And my dad's checking it, and I'm just like looking at him. And the thing is, during this, I'm a little bit, you know, kind of uncomfortable, because again, I haven't been in this church in ages. And I end up kind of like cuddling up to my dad, because I'm like, okay, cool. I look around the church, and some of the people I start noticing are people in this church that I do actually know in real life and do recognize from when I did go to church services. But it is not the people from the Anglican church that I recognize. It is the people that went to the Baptist church, the people that come to my school and teach us about why we celebrate Easter and Christmas and the teachings of Jesus. And I'm like, what's going on here? First of all, they're looking at me like, what are you doing here? Like, they're like, hello, what are you doing here? And then they just kind of give me a weird look. I become very aware, because I recognize them, and I'm like, you're actually from a different part. Like, you're not from this church. You're from another church. I mean, they could go to whatever church they want. You know, I'm not gonna stop them. I haven't been to this church in like 14 years. My dad's on his phone, disrespectful as hell. Cool. One I know is about to become 2 years old. This is an almost 2-year-old dream. And I know that because I had this dream before I started my current job, and I'm about to have my 2nd year anniversary, which is crazy to think about. But I had this dream where I basically went to go and have my first shift. If you don't know, I work in childcare, and I went to go have my first shift, but I didn't know what time I was supposed to finish, even though I do 8 hours. And basically I go there and I ask the girls, like, hey, I don't really know what time I'm supposed to finish, like, I'm not sure if it's this time or this time. And the girls are like, okay, cool, I'll help you, just hold on, I have to do this first. And I'm like, cool, that's fine, just, I want to find out how I can see that information, because I didn't know where to see, like, the roster or anything like that. I didn't know how any of it worked. And throughout the whole day, I keep being like, hey, can someone please show me? And they're like, hey, no, I'm busy, but I will show you in a minute. The whole dream is that. I'm going about my whole day, I'm trying to do my job, but I'm also like, I actually don't know what time I finish. It gets to the end of the day. The whole place is closed. I don't know how long I've been there for, but it closes down and I'm in the building. The whole place is closed with me still in there, and I'm like, okay, I actually have to leave now because I'm not supposed to be in here. So I end up breaking out, and the thing is, at my like center, there's like a gate where you can like you have to like unlock the thing, and the girls will lock that. I had to like get out, so I had to climb over this fence. By the way, the place I work in actually has a security system, so this is kind of funny, yeah. But I managed to get out, climb over the fence, and get out. But as I'm walking out this car park, the car park becomes my driveway of my home, and the driveway gets longer and longer and longer and longer, and I can't seem to get out. And I'm starting to have that whole like optical illusion dream again. And basically that's the whole dream, is I'm trying to get out of this place and I can't. That's a really good dream to have right before I start working, by the way. Two dreams I'm going to be talking about are called short dreams. And basically short dreams are dreams where I have like, there's a whole plot going on, but I only remember like a snippet of the dream, and it's just a very short little like synopsis basically of what happened, because I don't really remember the rest of the plot, but I remember a chunk of it. Not like the other dream where I remember every single thing that happened. I only remember a chunk of it. So the first one is that I got invited to go to a Jurassic Park premiere. And if you guys don't know, I'm a massive like dinosaur fan. I love dinosaurs. I actually really love Jurassic Park and all those movies. And basically I went to a premiere for the movie. It was like a new Jurassic Park, like a remake of it. And I go to this premiere and Bill Skarsgård's there. Now, if you know anything about Bill Skarsgård, he is a bit of a very, like he's very famous of an actor, but only in a very particular category. I see him at this premiere and he's in this movie, and I'm like, why would Bill Skarsgård be in a Jurassic Park movie? He's talking about how much fun he had on the set and how cool it was really to do. It was so like, it was such a cool like take on the original. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm so confused to why they cast him. We go to watch the movie and it's a straight up horror movie. Like Jurassic Park is actually quite scary in itself. Like the scene where they're stuck in the car and like the T-Rex breaks out, that is actually kind of scary. Like that scene itself is really scary. Also that scene in the third movie with the Spinosaurus and the phone, every time I watch that, it still gives me shivers.
I got a call on the plane and... What? I loaned it to Nash. He must have had it when he...
What's he doing?
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Yeah, like Jurassic Park can be scary, but in this dream, it was a straight up horror movie. Like heaps of blood, heaps of jump scares, like just like crazy horror movie kind of stuff. Like they ramped it up and stuff like that. So I got traumatized by dream because I saw a horror movie. They made a horror movie of one of my favorite films. The next dream, the last dream I'm going to be talking about is one that is pretty short and pretty simple, but the whole dream was that I was Willy Wonka's wife. Yeah. I was Willy Wonka's wife. And basically I would help him come up with creations, and in this dream he would have like meltdowns, of course. And he would basically be like, I don't know what my next candy is going to be. I don't know what I'm going to do next. What's my next chocolate? And I was like, here's an idea. And he's like, I love you. And I was like, I'm great. Thank you. Yes, thank you for noticing. I am great. Yes, I am wonderful. Thank you. Yes, I've got, yeah, no. I would come up with like candy ideas for him and help him with his, creations. That was the whole dream. I was Willy Wonka's wife. I helped him make candy. It was a bit of a longer dream, by the way. It wasn't technically a short dream. I remember a fair amount of it, but the whole plot was I was his wife and that he was just trying to come up with new lollies and candies, and I was like, I will help you come up with them. And there's a moment in the dream where he's like having a full-on meltdown because he's like, I don't know what my next creation's gonna be. And I'm like, what about this? And he's like, you're beautiful. I know I am. Alright, so that is all the dreams I'm going to be talking about. I really hope you guys liked this video. I'm hoping that you guys liked it because I definitely want to keep this going. I definitely feel like this could be a thing I kind of visit every few months. I come sit down and just talk about some of my weird dreams. So I do really hope you guys like it, and if you did, give it a big old thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time I film another one. Bye!